All right, as the 49ers get prepared to face the New England Patriots on Sunday, I'm going to talk today about the biggest issue with the 49ers offense, which actually is also the biggest issue with the 49ers defense, and that's third downs. And for the 49ers offense, it's very understandable. They're playing without Christian McCaffrey, who is an outstanding third down back. Of course, he's also an outstanding first down back and second down back. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Actually, we're going to talk a lot about that today. Also, going to talk about how Brandon Aiyuk and I were very similar this week. Both, I think, kind of got on the nerves of head coach Kyle Shanahan. For me, it was a long question. For Brandon Aiyuk, it was the wrong color shorts. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Once again, thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel. Thanks for subscribing and liking and commenting. I really appreciate how things have taken off here in basically my first month of having a YouTube channel. Okay, so here's the deal with Christian McCaffrey. As John Lynch said on Friday on KNBR, McCaffrey has a bilateral Achilles tendonitis, which means he has Achilles tendonitis in both legs. And so both Achilles tendons. So um, it's really remains to be seen when he will be able to come back to the team. 49ers are starting that process after he got treatment in Germany of beginning the process of ramping it up to see when he can get out there. But right now he is on injured reserve. He went on injured reserve after week one. So he still has to sit out 4 games beginning week two. So week two, week three, week four, and week five. So he'll be eligible week 6. Whether that's realistic or not, I don't know that anybody can say because he did sit out a month of training camp. And when he came back, he wasn't ready to play in the season opener, even though I'd kind of been led to believe, or people thought that if it were a regular season game during the preseason, he could have been out there playing. So then the Thursday before the second game is when things really started to act up and the 49ers shut him down. And so he's gone to Germany, and we'll see where it goes from here. But I think the bottom line is the 49ers have to proceed as if he is not going to be available this season. And that's not to say he's out for the year, none of that. I'm not trying to be an alarmist, but I think from the standpoint of Kyle Shanahan, when he's designing this offense, specifically for third downs, he has to do it under the assumption that McCaffrey isn't going to be back. They got to find some answers on third down. And then if McCaffrey's back, it's like found money. It's like finding some loose change between the sofa seat cushions, whatever. It's a bonus. That's what I'm trying to say. So what I asked Kyle Shanahan about on Friday was just how important it is for him to have a third down back. And he said that throughout his career, he had never had a third down back like Christian McCaffrey. And I mean, nobody really has because McCaffrey's probably one of the absolute best third down backs there's ever been. And he says that he felt like football had never been so easy in his 20 years as a coach as when he had a guy like Christian McCaffrey who situationally kind of fits anything that the defense is going to be throwing at him. This guy's a great running back. He runs between the tackles. He runs outside. He can split out wide. He can play in the slot. He can run routes out of the backfield. He can just do it all. And he's especially effective in the red zone, as his 7 touchdown catches last year showed. So then, if they're not going to have McCaffrey as they didn't through the first 3 games and won't for this game and won't for the next game either, for sure, what do they do to compensate that? Now, he said that he feels like all of the guys remaining on the roster, all the backs, are essentially have the same skill sets. They can do everything that they want them to do. They just can't do it at the level that McCaffrey does. So Jordan Mason has worked hard on his route running and his hands. Patrick Taylor as well, and Isaac Guerendo. So Guerendo, of course, is the second string back. I probably should have listed him in front of Patrick Taylor. But Kyle Juszczyk was a tight end in college many, many, many years ago at Harvard. But he's always been up around the 30 catch point as far as for the 49ers since his arrival with the organization. So he can run routes, he can catch passes, he can do all that. He's just not as dynamic of a playmaker as McCaffrey. As far as Jordan Mason, he has 4 catches this season, 7 in his career in 36 games. Guerrero last year at Louisville caught 22 passes for 234 yards. So he's a factor. He can do this as well. But just think about what the 49ers are lacking without Christian McCaffrey. He caught 67 passes last year for 564 yards and then the 7 touchdowns. So 49ers haven't been as good as they have been on third downs. They haven't been as good as they've been in the red zone. And why? It's got to be Christian McCaffrey. He does everything so well. So now the 49ers have to make some adjustments with their third down offense, and specifically like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and long. And so I think ultimately what you could be looking at for the 49ers is they might not even go with a back, not even a single back, in a lot of third down situations when it's certainly a running or it's certainly a passing type of situation. And once Ricky Pearsall gets back, and the 49ers do plan to open the practice window for him next week, when he is back, think about the players they can put on the field. They could have Deebo Samuel lined up in the backfield and then decide what to do with him. They could send him out into the slot or put him in motion and go empty, or they could just have him lined up back there as a running threat and have him run patterns out of the backfield. And then the 4 other guys eligibles could be Brandon Aiyuk, Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, and George Kittle. So it's that kind of area where the 49ers do need to do some experimenting, and maybe it's a game plan by game plan basis, but they have to figure out something without their top third down person on the field. That's Christian McCaffrey. And again, no idea when he'll be back. And if you ask Christian McCaffrey or the 49ers or anybody else, they would have no idea when he's going to be back either. But from the standpoint of trying to get some continuity going, 49ers just have to move on and figure this thing out. And then if McCaffrey's back, that makes that offense so much better. Okay, now Brandon Aiyuk. Grant Cohn got some video before practice. I did notice that Brandon Aiyuk was out there with long, baggy red shorts. All of his teammates were wearing the black shorts. And I think, one of my first posts here on YouTube was talking about how the vibe had changed around the building. It was actually the day before Aiyuk agreed to sign that extension with the 49ers, but it was kind of like the 49ers had run out of patience with Brandon Aiyuk. It was just like, okay, either sign the deal in front of you or we'll trade you, one or the other. And so I think the 2 losses that the 49ers have had in back-to-back games, I think it's been difficult on everybody. I think Kyle Shanahan has been probably a little bit more grumpy than usual. So he was clearly quite annoyed that Aiyuk showed up in the raw color shorts. I think Aiyuk, after, how should we say this, taking one in the shorts from Shanahan, I think he was kind of frustrated that this was an issue. And, he took off his shoes, he took off the red shorts, he tried to kick them to the side and then put it on the black shorts. So anyway, is it a big deal? Probably not. I think it does show that there's some level of frustration. I guess we can all read into it after the fact. The 49ers season goes downhill. We can look at it as like, oh, just another episode of something strange that happened around the 49ers in the 2024 season. If they win this game and Brandon Aiyuk starts producing like he did last season, the year where he had more than 1,300 yards and earned that big contract, everybody will kind of laugh it off. But that was kind of the drama, I guess you could say, Shorts Gate, that unfolded on the 49ers practice field on Friday, just a couple days before they take the field to face the New England Patriots, Week 4, Sunday at Levi Stadium. So once again, thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back at you tomorrow from Levi Stadium. I'll post here. Also follow all my stuff on NBC Sports Bay Area.com, starting with the pregame show, which is on the TV station, NBC Sports Bay Area. Jennifer Lee Chan and I and Laura Britt will be at Levi Stadium down on the field, getting you set for kickoff. And then in the studio, Carlos Ramirez, Dante Whitner, and Rod Brooks. So Jennifer and I will also post a podcast after the game, giving you all the information you need to know coming out of that 49ers Patriots game in week 4. So once again, thank you, and we'll see you back here very shortly.